city, huh? Abu Imran, is that hot? That has heat in it? Salamat ya akhi. Sorry. How many days now? Last night. Sorry, man. Mahmoud, who's be careful, Sheikh. Alhamdulillah, that's good. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah. وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله أما بعد فإن خير الكلام كلام الله وخير الهدى هدى رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار أعاذنا الله تعالى من نار جهنم ومن شدتها. As we mentioned earlier today during the Khutba of Jumu'ah, there were some proofs from the Quran and the Sunnah that the scholars of Islam, they make istidlal and they take proofs from these texts, these nusus, that go and show the virtues of giving people the benefit of the doubt and also giving people excuses. And those who give people excuses, they are people of virtues, because you never know what's going on with people. You never know. In addition to that, when you don't give people excuses, sometimes we fall into mistakes and oppression. And excuses are many, especially these days. You look at people and you may think that the person you're looking at is a normal person. But people have all kinds of issues going on. People are bipolar. People are on the spectrum. People have all kinds of issues. Underlying mental health issues. Doesn't mean people are crazy, because you have no idea what people are going through. So what may seem simple and comprehensive and easy to you, you can't make everybody responsible for that. You can't make everybody measure up to what your abilities are. That would be oppression. Not right, because everybody is not the same. So Giving excuses is important. When it comes to the issue like making takfir and making tabdir, excommunicating people and saying that they're outside of Islam because they did something or they didn't do something they should have done, they didn't do it, or they did something that they should not have done. Some people look at that and very quickly make takfir of people or tabdir of people. It's dhulm. It's dhulm. Before you can pass judgment on people, you have to absolutely make sure that things are present and other things are absent. Like what we mentioned today, this issue of ignorance. Ignorance. People are ignorant. And because of ignorance, people do things and you think that they should know, but they don't know. So you have to take it easy with people. The ayah of the Quran, for an example, told the people, وَمَنْ يُشَاقِقِ الرَّسُولِ من بعد ما تبين له الهدى ويتبع غير السبيل المؤمنين نوله ما تولى ونصله جهنم وساءت مصيرا. Listen to the ayah. Those people who oppose the messenger, they oppose an ayah of the Quran, they oppose a hadith, they oppose something from Islam that you know this thing is what they should be doing. You know he should be doing Raf' al-Yadayn, he should be doing this, he shouldn't be, you know she should be wearing hijab in a better way. You know that. And it's in opposition to the Quran and the Sunnah. And they oppose it after knowledge comes to them. And they choose a way other than the right way, the way of believers. We would send them to that which he wants, put him in the hellfire and punish him. So the hadith clearly states that the opposition of the person comes after they have knowledge. So once you establish the argument and the proof on them, then that's a different story. The hadith said any Muslim who goes to bed at night and he's full, he had enough to eat, and his Muslim neighbor, his neighbor is going to sleep hungry and he knows about it, it is not a true 100% Muslim. But if he doesn't know, it's not his responsibility. He's not blameworthy. He doesn't know what's going on with the individual. So not knowing is an excuse. So in this day and time that we're living, we have to, especially now, always understand the condition of the Muslims, of our ummah. People don't know. People don't know. So from those proofs that the scholars of Islam, they use was that ayat in the story that we gave today with Musa. And that's a tremendous story that is full of a lot of benefits and a lot of important issues and rulers in Al-Islam. Second one we want to bring to your attention is in Surah An-Naml. An-Naml. And that's the surah of the ant with Sulaiman. Tremendous Nabi from the prophets of Al-Islam. He was a father, he was a son of another Nabi. His father is Dawood, who Allah Azza wa Jal revealed to him the Torah. And there was no human being who had a kingdom the way that Sulaiman had a kingdom. Right now, these powerful countries, these superpowers, and they have a lot of power, and Allah is more stronger, but they wouldn't have been able to deal with the power and the might and the abilities of Sulaiman, although he lived a long time ago, because he had power over the jinn. But people can't see the jinn. He had power over the wind. He had power over animals. Salawatullahi wa salamu alayhi. Anyway, in that story, Sulaiman was making preparations to go to march on the kingdom of the queen of Saba. They call her the queen of Sheba. Sometimes you'll find that they call that lady Bilqis. And the narrations of the Israeliyat narrations, they mention that her name was Bilqis. Ibn Kathir and other than him, they bring that the people call it Bilqis. So that's a pretty common name, especially for people from Africa. But we have to be careful as Muslims. We shouldn't emphatically state that her name was Bilqis, just as we shouldn't emphatically state that Adam's sons their name was Habil and Qabil. We don't know. We say it is said. But we don't emphatically state that stuff. But that's what is said. But what we know is what Allah called her. She was the queen of Saba. And that was a place in southern Arabia, Yemen. She had a tremendous kingdom. And when Sulaiman was marching, there was a hudhud bird, a type of bird. And it's not really important when Allah Azza wa Jal mentions these types of things in the story of the cave. Some of the people said they were 3 and the dog made 4. They were 4 and the dog made 5. They were 6 and the dog made 7. Some people want to try to find out what kind of dog was it. That's not the point. What kind of dog? Was it a Doberman Pinscher? Was it a pit bull dog? Was it a German Shepherd? That's not the point. It's not the point if it was 3, 4. That's not the point. The point is they went to sleep. Allah caused them to die many years, and He brought them back to life after so many years. That's the point. That when we die, Allah is going to bring us back to life, and that's easy for Him. Just like He did with them, just like He did with Uzair. That's the point. So it's not really important. The hudhud bird is a known bird. It's a known bird. Anyway, Sulaiman mentioned, as Allah mentioned in the Quran, وَتَفَقَّدَ الطَّيْرِ فَقَالَ مَا لِيَ لَا أَرَى الْهُدْهُدَ أَمْ كَانَ مِنَ الْغَائِبِينَ لَأُعَذِّبَنَّهُ عَذَابًا شَدِيدًا أو لأذبحنه أو ليأتيني بسلطان مبين. So Sulaiman is looking over all of his soldiers. He's responsible, and he's taking care of his responsibility. One bird out of all of the soldiers, human beings, the jinn, angels was with him. Sulaiman is looking, and he said, where is the hudhud bird? He's missing. Why is the hudhud bird? Where is he at? Or is he from those people, from those who are absent? He said, Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, what is it that I see that he's absent? He's not here. He said, if he doesn't come with a good excuse to explain why he's not here, I'm going to punish him. I'm going to punish him with a serious punishment, or I'm going to slaughter him and make a dhabh. Because he's going against the ruling of the leader, who was Sulaiman, who was in the path of Allah, fi sabilillah, going to make jihad, to spread the tawheed, to spread the sunnah, to spread his sunnah, to establish Islam on the earth. When the hudhud bird finally came back, and Sulaiman asked him, where were you at? The hudhud bird gave him his excuse. He said, I went to a land that you didn't go to, Sulaiman. While they were marching in the land, he said, I went to a land and I saw a lady who had a kingdom, and it was a tremendous kingdom. And that lady and those people who were with her in that kingdom, meaning the queen of Sheba, the queen of Saba, they were making sajda to the shams, to the sun, and they were worshiping other than Allah. It's the responsibility of Sulaiman and the responsibility of all of the prophets and the messengers, salawatullahi wa salamu alayhim ajma'in, to spread the truth of Tawheed in the earth. So he took it upon himself to say, we're going to go and deal with those people. So the point here is, Sulaiman took attendance and the hudhud bird wasn't there. And he said, if he didn't come with a sultan or a good excuse, that was clear, I'm going to punish him severely, or I'm going to slaughter him. He had a good excuse. And that excuse was, he wasn't somewhere flying around, playing around, wasting time. He was doing the job that everybody came. All of those soldiers were there to be under the leadership and the authority of Sulaiman. As a result of that, Sulaiman accepted his excuse. That's from the benefits of that story. From the benefits of that story is that the sultan or the leader, anybody who's in the position of authority, whatever that authority happens to be, it's the masjid, it's the house, it's over the Muslim country, whatever the case is, it's his job to be responsible for making sure things run smoothly and people are doing their job. And it's also his responsibility to give excuses to people. Give excuses to the people under his authority. That's the second ayah. The third ayah that the ulama of Islam use to support this issue of the virtues of giving excuses to people and how people need excuses. Again, and it's a tremendous stories as well, is the issue of Yusuf and his brothers. And the Quran, Allah described the story of Yusuf as being a beautiful story, one of the most beautiful stories in the Quran. And the story is there to teach a lot of things, many lessons from the importance of having sabr, how Yusuf was patient, the importance and the danger of, managing the jealousy that can exist between the children, the brothers and sisters, the siblings, if we're not careful. Not only them, but again, anybody. People have jealousy. Got to be careful with that. The importance of dreams in Islam. Allah Azza wa Jal mentioned that story, and that story is full of Sulaiman giving the explanation of the people of dreams, or the people who had dreams in the story. Now, as it relates to this issue of dreams, we go back to Yusuf. What did I say, Sulaiman? We go back to that story concerning the dreams of Sulaiman, and we have to remember what we said today. The legislation and the sharia of the prophets and the messengers who went before us, it is not our legislation unless our religion came and said, yes, this is from our religion. For an example, I want to ask you, brothers, do we put a lot of respect and emphasis on respecting our mothers and fathers? Is that from our religion? It's a big issue from our religion, a big issue. So as the son of parents, I have to give them excuses. My dad was raised a particular way at a particular time in a particular environment. I don't like it, but I have to give him excuses. Why you act like that? My mother, she went through this, I got to give an excuse. And I got to respect them. That's in our religion. Now the question is, our respect for our parents, should it allow us to make sajda to them? Can we make sajda to our parents out of respect? We can't make sajda to them. But Yusuf, along with his brothers, made sajda to his father and his mother, because that was the religion of the people that went before us, and that was allowed for them. It was allowed for the malaika to make sajda to Adam out of obedience to Allah and out of honoring Adam. So when we read these stories, the legislation of the people before us is never a legislation for us, ever, unless there are proofs to show this thing they did and Allah allowed us to do it as well. But there are many things people will come to you and say, but the people before did this prophet or this. That's not our religion. But as it relates to Yusuf, salawatullahi wassalamu alayhi, when all of what happened with Yusuf, they threw him in the well after conspiring to go out and play with him. They left him in the well, which must have been very difficult, put him in danger. Water could have came, rain. He stayed in the well. Nobody came to pick him up. Wolves, hyenas, scorpions, snakes, anything could have eaten him. That didn't happen. Someone came and found him in the well, took him out of the well. And just like that, yesterday he was free and today he's in slavery. Just like that. That is a fitna. Yesterday he's free and today he is in slavery. And that's why in Islam, one of the major sins that the Prophet warned the people of, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, is a man grabbing and catching another man who's free, and then you just put him into slavery. And they used to do that during the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Sometimes they would fight, and they would overpower the people, and they would subdue them and put them in slavery. That's the slavery of Islam. You fight the enemy, you defeat them, you put them in slavery. Perhaps they'll become Muslims after hearing the kalam of Allah. They'll become Muslims. So he says, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that Allah is amazed. Allah is amazed at a group of people who will go into Jannah, and they'll go into Jannah in chains, in salasil. What's the meaning of that? They were enslaved, in slavery. And then they accepted Islam. And after accepting Islam, they were never freed. They were never freed. but they remained in slavery, but they worshiped Allah. And they gave Allah his rights, and they gave their masters, whoever owned them, their rights. The point here is with Yusuf, salawatullahi wa salamuhu, after all of that drama and all of that fitna, that story happened. At the end of the story, when Yusuf had all of those people who harmed him in front of him, he had his brothers there, he had the woman of the Aziz, he had the women there who cut their hands, he had the Aziz, all of those people were there, all of those people. Now it's time for him to speak his piece. After all of what happened, and all alone, he knew it was his brothers and what they did. They didn't know that was Yusuf until this moment. Yusuf, with the position that he had, he could have said, I'm going to give you people the death penalty for what you did to me. He had power, he had might, he had the ability. He had power over them. He could have gotten revenge. It was a perfect opportunity to pay him all back. But by doing that, was that the best thing to do? No, there's a plan. Allah had a plan. Allah allowed Yusuf to interpret the dreams. Allah allowed Yusuf to know the reality of what was going on. So he had sabr. And at the end, he said to his brothers, who didn't know who he was, قال هل علمتم ما فعلتم بيوسف وأخيه إذ أنتم جاهلون. Do you people remember what you did to Yusuf and to his brother when you were ignorant? You didn't know. You didn't know the ramifications and the evil of what you're doing. You're splitting Yusuf and his brother Benjamin from his father. His father didn't deserve that. The father went blind, missing his sons, all of that. What about the mother? The father loved them like that. What about the haq that they had to be with their parents? You remember when you did that? When you were ignorant? They were not ignorant about what they were doing. They knew what they were doing was wrong. But the ramifications of it, the depth of it, someone says that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam knows the unseen. That's a bad statement. Rasulullah is omnipresent everywhere. That's a bad thing. Rasulullah never died. That's a bad thing. But the person who says that, or they curse Abu Bakr and Umar and the companions, that is a bad thing. They don't know what they're doing. Ignorant. The environment they grew up in, they thought that that was the religion. That's what they thought. With sincerity, they thought that. They don't have knowledge. So they knew what they were doing, but they didn't know the reality of what they were doing. So Yusuf said, do you remember what you did to Yusuf and his brother when you people were ignorant? They said, قالوا أئنك لأنت يوسف قال أنا يوسف وهذا أخي. Yes, I'm Yusuf, and that is my brother. The ulama of Islam use this ayat here and part of this story again. The thing of not knowing is an excuse for people. And if you have position and power and ability over people, and you really come to know that they didn't know, take it easy. Take it easy. Make the tafweed of your haq that you can have. In the court of law, let him go. Let him go. He did wrong, but he didn't know. He really didn't know. So that's the second ayat. Altogether, we have 3 ayat. Giving excuses for people concerning their situation. Give excuse because that's your younger brother. That's your younger brother. Give excuses because the person is mentally challenged. Give excuses because socially the person is socially awkward. He can't help that he's like that. And you take it personally because of the way he's acting or not. He's just socially awkward. Some people are like that. So we have to accept that and embrace how people are. From the authentic Sunnah or from the ayat of the Quran as well, is the ayat that we mentioned and we read it in the Salat. Where Allah Azza wa Jal mentioned in that ayat from Surah Al-Hujurat, the inner apartments, O you who believe, avoid what is what is it? The dhan. What is English for dhan? Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu ijtanibu kathiran min adh-dhann. What is the dhan in English? Oh, you believe, avoid avoid a lot of speculation. To speculate. Speculation is when you think something is like this or that. You think he did that because of this or because you don't know for sure. If someone were to say to you, Ahi, Nasir, why do you think that he did that? Nasir said, I think he did that because he doesn't like you. If the person said, would you bet your life on that? That's correct. You're going to say, I don't know. I don't bet my life. I think that's why he did it. It's speculation. Some people make statements about people and about things. We had this thing in Al-Islam we mentioned the other day. Making al-mula'ana and al-mubahala. Invoking the divine curse of Allah upon yourself. If you're lying, may Allah curse me if that's not like that. That's how sure he is. No one's going to do that in his right mind unless he's absolutely sure. And some of the companions used to do that. Someone would accuse them of usurping and stealing their land. And the companion would say, may the curse of Allah be upon me if you're telling the truth. And may Allah Ta'ala cause you, the curse to be upon you. That person, when he fell in the hole, broke his neck and died in the nighttime. Now, it's not something you should walk around always saying that, but it's a big thing. Most people are not going to do that when they bring you information. It's just what they think is speculating. So the ayah said, avoid a lot of speculation. Another hadith about the ayah, he said, when you speculate, more times than not, you're wrong. It's the akdabul hadith. It's more times than not, you are wrong. It's not even true. More times than you're right, you're wrong. Sometimes your speculation could be correct because there are qara'in and dala'il. There are proofs. There are issues connected to it that will give you an idea. Yeah, he's doing this because of this or that. He said this because this or that. But more times than not, you're wrong. More times. So avoid it altogether. It's the ayat of the Quran. Avoid it. You see people doing things, you don't know the reason behind it with ilm al-yaqeen, certainty and clarity. Then don't be emphatically stating he's doing it because of this or she's doing it because of that. With our wives, with our husbands, with our children, with the people of the community. I'm telling you, Ikhwani, in this community or any other community, when you come together with people, it's very, very easy to hate each other. It's very, very easy. There are some people, they get along with each other. They're like drinking water when it comes to certain, you just get along with them. You know how he thinks, you know how it is, there's no problem. And then there are those people who is quite difficult to get, you just can't understand, you're always clashing. You just don't understand each other. And the issue that is on the table, it doesn't warrant all of that. It doesn't warrant all of that. Anger and hatred, it doesn't warrant that. You can easily come to the table and talk. I mean, it's easy. But some people, it's just like that. And what helps that to happen is speculating and having bad speculation. So those are the ayat and those are the hadith of the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa ala alihi wasallam. Speculated. The man came to Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam after his wife had a baby. And the man was an Arab, the color of these Arabs who are in front of us, and Abdul Hadi and Abu Tariq, the color of these people, he wasn't dark. His wife gave birth to a baby, and that baby came out dark. much darker than the woman and much darker than the father. When the husband saw that, the first thing that came to his mind was his wife stepped out on him in the marriage. May Allah be pleased with all of the companions. His wife, his baby came out dark. If one of us were married and you and your wife are darker and your baby came out not albino, because you can tell that albino, what is that other medical thing that people have where they have the whiteness in their skin? What's that called again? Not leprosy, a person who he has on his lips, they have it on their eyes. In English. But you guys know what I'm talking about, right? Your skin get bleached. A popcorn. Popcorn?
Not popcorn. Something like that. It pop up.
Yeah, like their eyes are white, the skin. And you know what I'm talking about? Yes. It's a skin disease. And it just comes like that. Sometimes your skin is normal and that'll come. I know a brother, he gives dawah, his name is Khalid Green. I call him collard greens. Khalid Green. That brother's skin was normal. And it just started getting white around his lips and eyes. And he has to deal with that. Yes, Sheikh, find the word for us. It's popular. It's not eczema. I forgot what it's called. But anyway. Huh? What is it in English?
In English.
Huh?
It's spelled Vitiligo.
Bingo. Bingo was his name or what? Something like this. What?
Vitiligo.
Yeah, vitiligo. That's it. And it can happen to anybody. Just like that. Now that's easier to handle. If you get eczema and your skin becomes like an alligator, you can handle that. Because we've seen that. Getting that vitiligo, we can handle that. But a man being married to a woman whose color is similar to him and the baby comes out white, is going to say, now, what do we have here? It's big fitna. What's going on here? You don't want to imagine it. The vast majority of us going to say, when that baby comes up, we say, all right, at the beginning, babies they're white, then they get darker. So you don't say anything at the beginning. But after some time, that baby get whiter and whiter. The husband said, what is going on here? So the husband thought that his wife stepped out on him and he went to the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. And that's important. He didn't take the affair in his own hands and accuse his wife of doing something like that. He told the Prophet of what happened. And what did the Prophet say to him, Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam? Intelligent. Do you have camels? You own camels? Intelligent. Do you own camels? He said, yes. He said, these camels, what color are they? He knows they're like human beings. Some of the camels are black. Some of the camels are brown. Some of the camels are red. Some of the camels are yellow. Some of the camels are white. They're all not the same color. He said, does it ever happen where black camels with black camel and it gives birth to a red camel? A red is with a red, give birth to a white. White is white, they give birth to a brown. He said, yes, that's something that I see. He said, what does that come from? What do you think that comes from? He said, because in those two camels that came together to deliver that baby a different color, their forefathers, the camel, 200 years ago, he had a camel somewhere in his lineage that was like that. So that baby reached back there, like he reached back and pulled his parents' gene, and he came out different from the mother and the father. Rasulullah said, that's what happened to your baby. And that was it, and that was enough for the man. Speculating is a problem. So something like that happens, you think this is going on, that's going on. It could be, but it's a way that it has to be dealt with. So in terms of giving people the benefit of the doubt, this is an issue that is important in the religion of Islam, and for this reason, showing its importance, all of the prophets and the messengers dealt with it. They came to the people to do what? To establish the hujjah and the dalil on the people. Don't leave any doubt. No doubt whatsoever. And as we mentioned, this is one of the reasons why people are not going to be able to talk Yawm al-Qiyamah. They won't be able to talk. Some people will talk. You have to answer things, but your body is going to bear witness against you. And the man is going to complain, what's wrong with my body that it is bearing witness against me? And they will talk because Allah on that day will give all of us the ability to talk. So this is the reminder for the khutbah of Jumu'ah today. And it's also a reminder for myself, for my family, and for you brothers, for all of us. For all of us. Give people the benefit of the doubt. All of them. Our children, the benefit of the doubt. As it relates to our shabab, the benefit of the doubt that we have to give these guys is the time that we're living in right now. It's a very complicated time. Very difficult, very complicated. And if you're blessed with a child who's growing up and he has good adab and akhlaq and he has respect and he's quiet and he's calm, there's going to come a point, and Allah knows best, that his independence is going to come. Ragham anfak. He's going to hit a point in a stage where he or she, they want to explore life for themselves. And that's when it becomes even more challenging. So we have to give them the benefit of the doubt. This is the society and this is the time that we're living in. And it's hard. It's hard. May Allah Azza wa Jal give us the success and the ability to, inshallah Azza wa Jal, deal with each other by giving each other the benefit of the doubt. Think about it before you criminalize the person or say they meant this or they meant that. And just talk straight to people. All right, Ikhwani, if you brothers have any questions, inshallah, concerning today's talk, the khutbah, you put your question forward. And we want to acknowledge the presence of Muhammad, alhamdulillah, Sakina, may Allah bless Sakina, the new baby who came for Ramadan, kept him busy. We were happy when we saw him today. And also, Ali's little cousin. Ali's little cousin, my man. What's your name again? Hamza. He drank all my soda. Hamza, he drank it all. He drank all of it. But it's okay because Hamza is my Habib. All right, Ikhwani, if you have any questions, tfaddulu.
Abu Usama, the hadith of the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, give your brothers 70.
Good question, Akhi. Subhanallah. Mahmoud. Fatah Allah Ali. The Salaf of our Ummah used to say a lot of words that were filled with wisdom as it relates to making excuses. Umar, authentically, he said, if you hear something from your brother or you see something from your brother that's not good, then try to come up with an excuse that you can make for him. And if you find it difficult, almost impossible to come up with an excuse, then say, maybe my brother has an excuse that I don't know about. Perhaps he has an excuse. Man, it's really hard giving him excuse now. It is hard. When we sit together, we have different brothers. I'm Shadeed. I say, let's chop his hand off. The other brother say, no, don't chop his hand off. Let's just whip him. Another brother says, no, let's just warn him. Another person says, no, let's just give him a chance. We have different levels of what we think should be done. Between the one who was Shadeed and the one who was Mutasahil. But between those people, there's no excuse. You can't. There's no excuse. Umar said, if you can't find an excuse, then say to yourself, perhaps my brother has an excuse that I don't know about. That's his excuse. It's one that I don't know about. Give him a break. As for the hadith that says, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, give your brother 70 excuses, there's a weak hadith. It's not authentic. It has problems in the chain of narration, and it is from the ahadith allati ishtuhirat ala al-sinat al-nas. You'll find many khatibs always mentioning this hadith. Look for 70 excuses. And although it's not authentic, what we should say is, we shouldn't say Rasulullah said that, but there's nothing wrong with saying it because it's wisdom, it's hikmah. Give your brother 1,000 excuses. Give him 1,000 excuses, not one, give him 1,000. Why? Why? So that we could just be soft, take advantage of us? No. Because how would you like it if you were in a situation and people were dealing with you in a way that you feel, "Hey, you don't have to deal with me like that." You want people to give you excuses. So give him excuse. So you remember that. That hadith is not authentic. But you can say that and you can believe that. Give your brother 1,000 excuses. Give your wife 1,000 excuses. Give him excuses. Now, any more questions, Ikhwani? Any more questions? Hey, let me ask you brothers a question. I got a question. After Salat al-Dhuhr, between the Asr and Dhuhr, are you brothers as tired as I am after Asr and Dhuhr? Are you tired?
Lately?
Yeah.
I am.
You are. So this zahma, this traffic that is here, when you're driving, do you ever fall asleep at the wheel?
No, I stopped.
You stop.
This happened.
I'm finding myself falling asleep at the wheel. Because I remember when we ate in Ramadan, you brothers kept talking about the itis, the itis, the itis. And now the itis is running my life. It's ruining my life, the itis. I'm driving and literally fighting myself at the red light not to go to sleep. Yes, wallahi. So I wanted to ask you guys. Fadl ya Sheikh. Sheikh al-Iraq.
Those who commit wrongdoings, wherever they are, without knowing, does that hold them accountable for not making effort to know? Because, I mean, not knowing, maybe it could be one time or two times, but if that wrongdoing is repeated without them making an effort to learn any issue of the religion, doesn't that make them accountable to that?
Yeah, no doubt. If a person is a Muslim, he has to learn his religion because knowledge precedes actions in the religion. Most important action and deed in the religion is to know the Tawheed of Allah Azza wa Jal. And Allah Azza wa Jal commanded the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, فَعْلَمْ أَنَّهُ لَا إِلَهَ إِلَّا اللَّهِ وَاسْتَغْفِرْ لِذَنْبِكَ. Ya Muhammad, know that there's no God worthy of worship but Allah, and then make istighfar. He didn't tell him make istighfar and then know. You have to know what you're doing. So every Muslim is responsible for pushing off of himself ignorance so that he can worship Allah correctly. It's a prerequisite to the action or the deed. So if a person doesn't learn and he has the ability to learn, he has responsibility. He has a level of responsibility depending on his situation. And Allah is the one who judges people ultimately. So I know reverts who come into the religion after being in the nation of Islam, and they still say the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. They still say the Imam Warif ad-Din Muhammad because they don't know. They don't say that because they don't know. So you have to be patient with them. You have to try to teach them in the best way possible. You have to help them get, and people like that in the environments where we come from. So they're responsible though. Ignorance is a, what do you call that? It's a disease because the ignorant person is his own worst enemy. So everybody is responsible. And Allah knows ultimately who is falling short of the mark with taqseer, and he's blameworthy. Some people are not blameworthy. They just don't have the means and the ways to know. So they just make blind follow. It's permissible for them. Any more questions, Ikhwani?
Another thing, okay.
Tafadli ya Sheikh.
I'd like to shed some light on the reward for those who are tolerant and give excuses. What is their reward?
As for those who are overlooking and they give people excuses, they're the people of virtue. Number one, this is how the prophets and the messengers are, especially our Nabi. And he's a perfect example. لَقَدْ كَانَ لَكُمْ فِي رَسُولِ اللَّهِ أُسْوَةٌ حَسَنَةٌ. He is the best example. He told the people, follow me and be like me. He says, sallallahu alayhi wasallam, ليس المؤمن بالتعان ولا لعان. The believer is not the person who's always talking bad about people and he's cursing people. He's not like that. That's not the way of the believer. He's not like that. والكاذمين الغيظ والعافين عن الناس والله يحب المحسنين المحسنين. Allah said those people who control their anger, they have the right to be angry when they see something from their children, from the wife. They have the right. But they control their anger and they pardon and they forgive people and they let them go. They don't take revenge. Yawm al-Qiyamah, people have the right to take revenge from people. And they didn't take in the dunya. He has the right, he has the ability to take revenge, to do something to the child, do something to the wife, to do something to the slave. But they forgive him, they pardon him. Yawm al-Qiyamah from his virtues is he will be given an opportunity to marry any of the huru'in that he wants. Anyone he chooses, not just between him and Allah. Ala ra'us al-khala'iq. Everybody will be there and it will be said to him, choose from the maidens of the Jannah, whoever you want. And all of those people will look and they'll say, I want that one, this one, that one, that. And they'll feel this sense of, it's a virtuous thing for him. So it's from our religion. Overlook to the best of your ability. But you have to be balanced as well. And in being balanced, we have to say, don't get played for a sucker neither. Don't get played out of pocket neither. Right? There's a fine line. There's a fine line. The man in Sahih Bukhari saw, or Isa ibn Maryam saw the man stealing, and he saw that with his own eyes. And he said, did you steal? You stole something? The man said, La. وَالَّذِي لَا إِلَهَ غَيْرُهُ. I swear by Allah, I didn't steal. Isa ibn Maryam said, I believe in Allah and I disbelieve in what my eyes saw. Because the man swore by Allah. He said, I believe in Allah. You swore by Allah? I believe in Allah. And I disbelieve in what my eyes saw. The hadith is for what? The hadith is to show you ultimately it's his responsibility for what he said, if he's lying or not. As for you, if someone took it that far, then I believe in Allah and he let the situation go. And Allah is A'la and A'lam. What time is the adhan? 33. Any more questions for you youngsters? Abu Asma, tfaddal.
We give excuses to people. If a person like, من عاداتي, just like broke his promises, like you have a meeting with him, doesn't show up, you give him excuses. Last week he did the same thing, the week before he did the same thing. Are you just gonna give him excuses?
For the person who it is his habit of making excuses, or he does a thing habitually over and over and over and over again, do you keep giving him excuses? It depends what's going on. It depends on all of the factors and all of the variables. It may be wisdom to let it go. And it may be dhulm to let it go. Because it's wajib for you to stop it. That man, during the time of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, spoke bad about Rasulullah. And the Prophet caught him. He said, Ya Muhammad, I won't do it again. I swear I won't do it again. He let him go. And then the man got caught again, speaking bad about the Nabi. Continue. When he got caught, he knew that the Prophet was easygoing, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Latif, Rahim, Ra'uf, sallallahu, Ya Muhammad, let me go, I won't do it again. Rasulullah said to that man, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, La yuldiru mu'min min hufratin wahida marratain. The believer doesn't get stuck from the same hole 2 times. If he gets stung from the same hole twice, his iman is naqis. He's supposed to learn from that. So he got that man, he dealt with him. Because what that man was doing was big fitna. But if in the scale is something that's not going to hurt you, it's just something with him and his akhlaq or something like that, the wisdom would necessitate that you deal with it in the way you deem most appropriate. Any more questions, Ikhwani? Okay, inshallah, we'll stop here. And we ask Allah Azza wa Jal for his at-tawfiq, inshallah. My brother, what's your name? What's your name?